Welcome to LexiCast, a podcast designed to help you grow in your legal practice, with weekly updates on current topics, trends, and practical insights. Perfect for listening on the go. Let's dive in.
You know, there's a massive paradox sitting right at the center of modern legal practice. If you walk into any law firm today, I don't care if it's top tier or on a suburban high street, there's one tool that is absolutely keeping the lights on. It's the engine of the entire thing.
Which email? Without a doubt. It's the air that lawyers breathe. It's how deals get done, how advice is delivered.
Exactly. But here's the hook for our deep dive today. And it's something that, frankly, it made me sit up straight when I read our source material.
Right.
Email was never actually designed for lawyers.
Right.
It wasn't built for high stakes, ethically bound, confidential communication. It was built for speed.
Yeah.
For casual chat.
That's the fundamental tension, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have this technology that was designed for informal, rapid-fire conversation.
Right.
And it's being used by a profession that is built on precision, on deliberation, and, well, absolute confidentiality. And that mismatch is where the trouble starts.
And it's where the risk lives. So today, we're digging into a fascinating set of materials from Catherine Urquhart. She's a risk management expert, and she's been training lawyers since the 1990s.
Wow. So she's seen it all.
She has this incredible perspective because she actually remembers the before times.
The era of the fax machine.
Yeah.
Urquhart points out that in the early 90s, when email first showed up, the rule was basically never use this for clients. It was just seen as way too casual, far too insecure.
Right. If it was important, you'd send a fax or put a formal letter in the post.
Which feels like ancient history now.
Oh, can you imagine if you told a client today, I'll snail mail you the answer? You wouldn't have that client by the end of the week.
Not a chance. The usage has shifted from never to all day, every day, but the tool itself hasn't really changed. It's still that, casual, informal beast.
So the mission for this deep dive is to perform an audit. We're going to audit how you use your inbox against the actual rules of the profession. Specifically, the Australian Solicitors Conduct Rules.
And we're not just talking about embarrassing typos here. We're talking about competence, confidentiality, courtesy. This is a risk management audit for your daily life.
And we should probably start where most lawyers live these days, the iPhone office.
I love that term, the iPhone office. It sounds so convenient, but Urquhart flags it as a major source of professional risk.
It connects directly to Rule 4.1.3 of the ASCR.
Right, which is the duty to deliver legal services competently, diligently, and promptly. Now, most lawyers would argue, well, answering an email from the coffee shop line is prompt.
I'm being diligent because I'm available.
But Urquhart just flips that logic on its head. She argues that relying too heavily on your phone is actually a threat to your competence.
And she breaks it down, right, into physical and technical limitations.
Yeah, think about the screen size. You can't see the whole thread. You're scrolling rapidly, you miss context, you miss an attachment.
I have definitely done that. Read an email while waiting for my coffee, thought I'd grasped it, and then realized an hour later, I completely missed the key point.
Exactly. In a casual chat, that's just a misunderstanding. In law, that's potential negligence. You just can't absorb complex information with the same depth on a phone. And then you've got the fat finger errors.
Autocorrect.
Autocorrect. It's funny when you text a friend, it's a disaster in a legal filing. Worse, though, is the autofill risk. You accidentally select Jane Smith, the opposing counsel, instead of Jane Smith, your client.
That is the nightmare scenario.
It happens. And then there's one more hidden risk. The filing black hole.
Oh, this is about the practice management systems.
Correct. If you're firing off emails from your phone, are they being captured in the client file? Probably not. They're just living on your device until you remember. And if a colleague needs to pick up that file because you're sick, the firm's record is incomplete. That's a failure of diligence.
So she proposes a mental checklist. This is a really practical takeaway for anyone listening. Before you hit send on a phone, you pause and ask 4 questions.
It's a great circuit breaker. 1, can I concentrate? 2, can I absorb all the info in this thread? 3, can I ensure accuracy? Check for those autocorrect fails. And 4, can I file this later?
And if the answer to any of those is no,
put the phone away. It's about distinguishing between checking and doing. You need to check your email regularly. You can't let it explode. But checking doesn't mean you have to do the work right then and there.
That's the difference between being aware of an issue and trying to draft a settlement offer with your thumbs in an Uber.
Precisely. And in a remote world, this is even more critical. You can't see an empty chair and know a colleague is sick. Firms need actual protocols so that a sick lawyer's inbox doesn't just become a black hole.
Which leads us perfectly to the people on the receiving end, the clients, because this phone culture has changed how clients expect us to work.
Oh, it's created a pressure cooker. Clients think, I sent it. I know you have your phone. Why haven't you answered?
And Urquhart uses family law as the case study here.
Which makes total sense. High stress, high emotion. Family lawyers are kind of the canaries in the coal mine for this stuff. If they don't set boundaries, they'll be getting emails at 3 in the morning.
So what's the strategy? How do you manage that?
Radical transparency about expectations. It's about documenting communication rules right at the start. In the letter of engagement, you state your turnaround times. You state that you don't respond on weekends.
And there was that one tactic she mentioned that I thought was brilliant, the chill pill clause.
Yes. You explicitly note that time is recorded for reading and responding to every single email.
Which stops that stream of consciousness emailing pretty fast.
It really does. When a client realizes that 10 one-sentence emails are going to cost them 10 6-minute units, they suddenly start to consolidate their thoughts.
But it's not just about the volume, it's about clarity. We have this duty, Rule 7.1, to provide clear and timely advice. And Urquhart makes this great point that formatting is actually an ethical duty.
I found that fascinating. We think of bolding or bullet points as just, aesthetics.
Making it look pretty.
But she argues that if you have a stressed out client, giving them a wall of dense text is effectively failing to advise them because they won't absorb it.
So using bullet points, underlining the deadlines, that's not just style, that is competence.
It's ensuring the advice actually lands. And you have to know when to stop. If you can tell the client isn't getting it over email, you have a duty to switch channels.
Pick up the phone.
Exactly. Pick up the phone. Bring them in. You can't just say, well, I emailed them and wash your hands of it.
Okay, let's move to the scary part. Confidentiality. This is the big one. Rule 9.1. And the biggest enemy here seems to be what Urquhart calls the zombie thread.
The zombie thread. It's a classic trap. You have a long email chain with a client, some colleagues, maybe an external consultant. It's been going for weeks. You hit reply all to give an update on a totally new development.
But you've forgotten that the consultant, who definitely shouldn't see your privilege settlement strategy, is still on there from 3 weeks ago.
Exactly. The topic has shifted, but the recipient list is a fossil from the past. Her advice is simple, but rigorous. Start new emails.
That sounds like more work.
It is more work. But if the topic changes, start a fresh draft and consciously select the recipients. It forces you to check who's actually in the digital room.
It also helps with the autofill issue.
It does. Urquhart suggests using practice management software that limits contact suggestions to the specific file you're on. So if you type David, it only shows you the Davids involved in this case, not every David you've ever met.
That's a smart fix. Now, there was one tip in the material that I absolutely loved. I'm calling it the digital P.O. box.
Yes, this is a brilliant tip for high-risk clients. Say, a family lawyer representing someone leaving an abusive partner who might have access to their devices.
Or a corporate lawyer where the client's assistant reads all their mail. You can't send sensitive advice to their regular inbox.
Right. So Urquhart suggests you ask the client to create a brand new secret email address just for this legal matter. A generic Gmail account no one else knows about.
It's like a digital version of a P.O. box.
Exactly. It ensured only the client sees the advice. It's such a simple step, but it massively reduces the risk.
So let's say the worst happens. Despite all of this, you mess up. You send the confidential offer to the wrong person.
The oh no moment.
Yeah.
That stomach drop.
What's the protocol? Because my instinct would be to panic and immediately call a client to apologize.
And that would be the wrong move, according to Urquhart. It's counterintuitive, but your first call is not to the client. You call a senior partner, your insurer, or the Law Society ethics line.
Why? It feels like you're hiding it.
It's not about hiding, it's about triage.
Yeah.
You need objective advice on the consequences. You need to know if this is a minor slip or if you just torpedoed the case. You need a plan before you talk to the client.
So you go to them with the problem and the solution.
Exactly. And then you absolutely must notify the client. And this is the hard part. They get to decide what happens next. They might terminate your retainer.
Ouch. That is a tough conversation.
Brutal. But the duty is for their benefit, not your comfort.
Okay, let's pivot from our own mistakes to the behavior of others. The nastygram.
Ah, yes. Professional courtesy. We're looking at rules 4.1.2, honesty and courtesy, and 5.1, avoiding disreputable conduct.
Urquhart breaks down this one aggressive email. It starts with the phrase, which you have deliberately and rudely chosen to ignore.
It's an assumption. You don't know why they haven't replied. Maybe they're in the hospital.
Yep.
To jump straight to deliberately and rudely is just a breach of professional courtesy. It inflames everything.
Then it gets worse. The email alleges the lawyer is party to a conspiracy.
That's Rule 32.1. You cannot make allegations of misconduct without a proper basis. You can't just throw around accusations of fraud because you're frustrated.
And the grand finale, the threat. Unless you pay up, I will report you to the regulator.
And that's a direct breach of Rule 34.1. You cannot threaten disciplinary proceedings to get leverage in a civil matter. That's effectively extortion in the eyes of the rules.
We've all written those emails in our heads, I'm sure.
In our heads, yes. But hitting send can get you in serious trouble. So the takeaway is twofold. One, don't be that lawyer. But two, if you get one of these, recognize it for what it is.
It's a rules breach.
It's a rules breach. Don't respond in kind. Get advice.
Finally, let's quickly touch on those disclaimers at the bottom of every email. Does anyone actually read those?
Non-lawyers. Probably not. It's just white noise.
Well,
But they actually serve a very specific purpose between lawyers.
how so?
Well, Rule 31.1 covers inadvertent disclosure. If a lawyer gets an email by mistake and realizes it's confidential, they have a strict duty. They must stop reading, delete it, and notify the sender.
So you can't just say, aha, look at their secret strategy.
Absolutely not. The disclaimer is the trigger for that duty.
Yep.
It's a flag that says, hey, colleague, remember your obligations.
So even if the public ignores them, they can save your bacon.
They can. And for non-lawyers, it might at least guilt them into doing the right thing.
We have covered a lot of ground. It's amazing how much risk is hiding in that sent folder.
It really is.
Yeah.
We talked about the iPhone office trap, the digital P.O. box.
Zombie threads and the danger of reply all, and of course, the nastygram. A reminder that aggression is usually just an ethics violation in disguise.
Yeah.
If there's one big takeaway for me, it's that email feels like talking, but for a lawyer, it's writing. It's permanent. It is evidence.
That is the key. And Urquhart's final piece of advice is maybe the best. The drafts folder is your best friend,
Write it, leave it, walk away.
especially if you're angry or tired. Come back when the adrenaline's worn off. Check the recipients. Check the tone. Then send. That pause is the difference between a good lawyer and a disciplinary complaint.
That is great advice for lawyers and honestly, probably for everyone else too. I think we could all use a little more time in the drafts folder.
Indeed.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into your inbox. Hopefully you'll look at that send button a little differently now.
See you next time.
That's it for today's episode on LexiCast. If you're looking for more in-depth episodes that can also be claimed as CPD activities, check out our LexiCast CPD Plus page linked in this episode's notes. Follow us now to stay up to date, and we'll see you next time.